Jody Williams, we're back.
What is up, everybody?
Back from a long trip overseas.
Yes, I am back. I am back. Sorry I missed the show last Monday. I was occupied, but you still had guests on the show, did you not?
I had some surprise guests on the show. Yes, I did. And it was, Neil Pickup and just about everyone else that was in the house.
Yeah, I'm in there, in the back with Statham going over some stuff and all that. You know what? When they do release the videos of Iron House 3 from ARMWARS, it'll be very exciting. Just so we're clear. Very exciting.
Jay Clean, what is he talking about here?
I think he's talking about the AMC tournament, but before we get to that, because that topic will be a long one. What took place over the weekend? So, for some of you guys, we had the it's not a California state tournament, but it was the shape of California is long, right? So they broke it up into north versus south, right? Good event, I watched it all right. But there was some controversy in one of the classes. And this is where when we get into these flop wrist pressers, and I do it myself. So the only way to be effective in that move is that you got to have your shoulder behind your hand. There were times where the match was between Scott Partington and Ryan Ballesteros, and Scott took hand control, which made Ryan like this, but he's trying to flop like that, which, it's not the best angle to do. But the issue was that some people claim that Ryan shoved Scott off the pad, and Scott elbow fouled. And I looked at it, I'm like going, you know what? It just seems like what happened was that Ryan was trying to transition. And as he was trying to transition, Scott's elbow came off the pad. So, I mean, there was some controversy there and stuff. Did you happen to see the video?
I did. I watched the match. And it comes down to the intent. Was he trying to make him elbow foul, or was he trying to push to the pad? Now, to me, it didn't look like he was intentionally trying to javelin him off the pad. It looked like he was pushing straight forward, but I mean, it's a pretty weak argument. I know Scott was pretty upset about it, but at the end of the day, you also have a job to do with keeping your elbow on the pad as well.
Right. And Justin, just so you know, we'll get to that too with the dark card. But the thing is, though, with this press thing, right? I've been known to do it, but it's hard to press somebody when you're here to get the win. It's hard. You have to, at some point, you're going to run it. Your body's not flexible unless you're Gumby. You're not flexible. So when someone tries to transition, now your elbow or your shoulder's behind your hand. Now you have more room to go forward rather than being out here and try to, jam this way. It didn't, as a certified ref, I watched it over and over. It just seemed like Ryan tried to adjust, and as he was trying to adjust, and kept pressure on it, that's when Scott's elbow came off, and he thought he got intentionally pushed off, but it's not going to work, so.
Well, to me, it looked like it was still an elbow foul, and that the ref made the right call, as controversial as it may seem. And most of that controversy is based on the complaint and the animation of the guy that the call was against.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, okay.
I don't know. In the chat, tell me something. In the chat, should it be your job and your job alone to keep your elbow on the pad? Meaning, if somebody pushes you off the pad intentionally, should you get the foul for pushing or for your elbow coming off, or should they get the foul for pushing you off the pad?
That's a double-edged sword, Ryan, because my experience, and not to let the cat out of the bag, but if you guys remember match 5, I believe, match 5, against Adrian Popescu, right? And for those who are ARMWARS members, you can see the match. I believe it was match 5, and my elbow slipped off. So he didn't jam it to me. I was just drenched with sweat, which ended up on the pad where my elbow was. And he went to surge, and I was blocking it, but then my elbow slipped off the pad. Now, that in comparison to what you're saying when someone purposely tries to jam you off, that's like a sucker bush league move because they know they can't win. That's a different one. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. At the end of the day, even though my elbow slipped off the pad because of sweat, I am responsible for keeping my elbow on the pad. But if you're planning and someone jams you off because they can't win, that's just another way of saying I'm out here, I can't win. Let me just purposely lift my elbow up. Right?
Now, I watched this happen blatantly. The worst one I ever saw. Dave Hicks went through the World Championship in the Masters division.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets into a match with an American puller. I don't remember the guy's name. He fouls out, goes down to the B side. He's pulling Miles Wilco in the semifinal. And Dave was dominant when he fouled out. He's arm wrestling Miles Wilco. Well, they stop at center. Miles just goes, book, pushes his elbow off the pad. Restart. They go again. Canadian versus Canadian. Same thing. Book, pushes his elbow off the pad. Double foul. Dave was out. It was blatant that it was intentional. Like it was for sure on purpose. But the rules at the time stated that it was your job to keep your elbow on the pad.
Is that how you really want to win, especially on that kind of stage?
Well, you're talking about honor instead of an integrity versus winning.
Right.
Those two things don't go hand in hand. So, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, I'm happy to do it. But there's guys out there that will say, you can't push someone off the pad intentionally, but I'll take $10,000 worth of pharmaceuticals and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? So where do you draw the line on this stuff?
Here, since everybody's talking about that in the chat, Jay Clean and Phil Woody, and they're talking about Jerry Cataract. Now, some people's flop wrist press can end up like this. Sometimes I will flop like this, right? It comes sideways where Jerry will come this way. So the thing is, though, with Jerry's flop wrist, if I'm here, and if he was to flop wrist press me, the angle he's going at makes my arm go that way. So I don't think he's deliberately trying to push you off. It's just the force is coming this way at you rather than me trying to go that way.
Now, Jerry will push. Jerry's got, let's face it, against a good arm wrestler, Jerry has one move.
Mm-hmm.
He does it every time. He's very good at it. And he will be the first guy that when he gets caught up in the center of the table to be saying elbow, 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 like for the ref to draw attention to the guy who probably is elbow fouling. So whether he's trying to or not, it looks like he's trying to sometimes because he's calling attention to it. But, sometimes the answer is, I guess it's yes. Some people do want to win that way.
Why? But why though? Honestly, it's like, if win like a man, lose like a man.
On the line, the W is more important.
Okay, so I was really impressed when Jerry Gennady came. What was that, match 4? 3 or 4, and Jerry came with a shoulder roll. Like this. He didn't come that way. He actually just went like that. Where's that at? So I never saw it against Georgie. But then again, Georgie pulls a different way where he probably couldn't get to this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jay says he definitely tries to push you off if he can't finish. Okay. Possibly.
So does that mean, and here's the thing. When you have those kind of matches, and I always thought, whether you're pulling best of 5, 6 rounds, whatever, you got to have more in your arsenal, unless someone blocks everything where you're kind of limited to one option. Then you kind of just got to go with that, But But in Jerry's case, and we've seen him in the past where if you try a top roll, you're not going to be in there where you can get dominated. So you try to top roll. So all of a sudden now, I mean, how many times do we see that Jerry Travis match for 15 grand or whatever, where Jerry's elbows off the front, Travis's elbows off the back, and you're like, what the fuck,
Yeah, and when you try to soften the rules up a little bit to allow for things like that, then the whole thing gets skewed.
Mm-hmm.
And the WAL match, I mean, the one with Michael, that was a mess. Let's face it, it was a mess. But yeah, I don't know. In this scenario, I don't think he was intentionally trying to elbow foul him. And if he was, it looked good enough that, he should get away with it in this case. If you're going to flop wrist press, your opponent can change the angle of that more than you can. Like Jerry being right behind it, that's the move he wants. If you're applying a massive amount of back pressure, well, right behind it turns into out here a little bit, and you're kind of pushing forward.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like you're in a losing position and pushing the guy off the pad.
Right.
Because the example I told you about, actually, now that I'm thinking about it more, the Miles Dave Hicks match, I think Miles was actually over here in the losing position and pushed him off the pad.
And, that's when you have to okay, let's look at the footage and break everything down and go, okay, like microseconds and go, what exactly are we looking at,
Yeah.
And what's rough about those kind of things, it happens in real time. So then you got to kind of look back. And sometimes when you play things in slow motion, you see things you don't see when you saw it in real time, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Bill Collins actually watched the video. Now, a lot of refs won't watch, a third-party video or whatever and even consider it. He watched it, and he thought it was legit.
There was a lot at stake, though. That was for the number one spot in that particular class. So there was a lot of, it wasn't just like a bona fide tournament. This is like California, but it was North for South. That particular match we're talking about, everybody, was for the number one ranked guy in the state at that weight class. So I mean, it was important, for you had to, because as a referee, you do want to get the calls right. And
yeah,
and I'm telling you, Ryan, like I said, I got to be real careful about what I say, because when I was in Blackpool last weekend, there is some calls that were made against me that I didn't agree with, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. So,
well, you can't. We're not even allowed to talk about the matches yet.
I'm not. I'm just saying it. I just said that. I didn't say anything about the highlights or anything. But
yeah,
my point being is that as a referee, you do have an obligation to get the call right, and if that means you have to go back and look at it, I'd rather be right than to have a conscience and have that sit on you and knowing that maybe he didn't foul, maybe he did this, and then you know what I mean. So.
Jay's trying to get you to go on a rant.
It's just, I'm okay now. At the moment, I'm like, but I'm sure it'll all come out at some point. So, but yeah. So anyway, that's I want to start the show with that, and then we can morph into the AMC.
Where do you want to start? 95 kilo.
First of all, did that replace the Russian, the A1 Russian tournament, or no?
I don't know. But there's a lot of money up for grabs.
Yes.
The problem is, I don't think you're going to see any North American arm wrestlers going to Russia anytime soon.
Why is that?
Turn on CNN, Jody.
Oh, shit.
No, we are not. There's a bit of a conflict going on over there, and I don't want to end up in a prison for something that was in my bag. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I don't see myself going to Russia anytime in the near future. And probably you can throw China in there with that too. But I mean, this tournament, did you see any? I mean, Krasimir was there.
Krause was there. I really cheer for him because, and let's just hashtag these are the facts. He's not what he once was, and I think I might know why. But he was in that class, and I'm like, dude,
Well, he has admittedly said that he will not do some of the things that people are doing to maintain that level. So he well, first of all, Jay says it didn't replace A1, but it fills the void left by it.
Yeah.
He did win some matches in that class. But ultimately, Zurab comes out on top, which I thought was interesting. And if you did you pick on up on some of the little things that the referees were missing in those matches?
It looked like some of the referees weren't sure unless the other one said, yeah, okay, match. Like they weren't sure. I'm like, for a high caliber tournament with lots of money up for grabs, you got to be on your game.
Yeah. And a couple of matches. There's one for sure where Zurab pins his opponent with his offhand not even being on the peg.
Who's
and
the
you
down
can see
rep?
it was plain as day. You could see it on the video. He gets the pin and his hand isn't even close to the peg.
But isn't that the down ref's job though? Like, what are we looking at? Because usually you got a down ref, they're looking at elbows, that kind of stuff. Then you got the other head ref is looking at, up top or whatnot, maybe shoulders and that kind of stuff. So it's like you got two refs. In some tournaments, you got the two refs and a camera, but how do you miss that?
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of it all, Zurab comes out on top. And with the amount of matches that he had earlier on in the day that were really hard ones, I was actually surprised that he won that tournament.
Yeah, but it goes to show you though, I'm not really sure. The way they edited it out was it's like, okay, the top six, or whatever. So I'm not sure exactly how many people were in that class to begin with,
Yeah, and then there was the other one you sent me, which was the supers. Now, you sent me one video. You sent me two videos. The first one, I thought Salayev came out on top of that.
The way they made that look.
The way they made that look, that video.
So here's the thing. This is what everybody's talking about. So AMC Armwrestling, everybody go check it out. It'll pop up, 95 kilo and above. The finals were between Salayev and Vitaly. And what it looked like, people in the comments, the ones that were speaking English, said that, oh, it must be good. But, Vitaly just laid down thinking, the way I saw it, we know how thick, big, and strong Salayev is. Well, when your hand is this way, it's kind of hard to pronate when you got a guy that size of hand and strength pushing like this. It's kind of hard to pronate out of that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he just like said, look, I can't pronate out of that. It's not worth busting my wrist over it. Now, because I'm doing research, I'm like, that doesn't look like he just gave up, because if he would have laid down, he would have laid down a lot earlier than what he did. Now, there's another video out there. That's the last one I sent you, Ryan, where now, because the first video you'll see Vitaly on the left, Salayev on the right. Now, the second video I sent you, Ryan, they were flipped. Now, Vitaly is on the right and Salayev is on the left. And there was no laying down whatsoever because Vitaly was fighting. I've never seen somebody in a posting style low hand top roll hold a guy for that long.
Well, Jay is saying that Salayev won the class, Vitaly won the overalls.
And they don't show. I mean, when they showed us, you don't know what's what. That's what's confusing, because it wasn't like it was labeled. The one time I only saw it where it said the final. Cool. That's the first video I showed you. that was the final. But then I saw the other one that's like 2 minutes and 13 seconds long. I'm like, well, where is this? Is this like the B-side match, the A-side? I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then Jay says they made a show of it, in my opinion. So, Jay, are you saying that maybe there was a little bit of acting in those matches?
Well, remember, no, because at the end of that video, the second one I showed you, it shows Vitaly with the belt, 15 grand.
Yeah.
And then Salayev was, second place, 7,500. But I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Then how come in the finals, 95 plus, if she's, Salayev winning? That whole thing is just confusing.
Yeah, and where was Zauer or whatever that guy's name is, that big dude? Is he injured or something?
I think he's still injured.
Okay, well.
Is there a way you could pull that, Ryan? Is there a way you could pull that up and show it? Because it's just weird how they show that, and then okay, you're thinking, oh, Salayev won, and then Vitaly came in second. But then the second video I showed you, Vitaly wins. At the end of the video, who's holding the belt on their shoulder with a check of 15 grand, and then Salayev is kind of sitting up here, hey, I took second place. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly the narrative is, as far as, because when you got that much money up for grabs, I don't foresee people laying down.
Yeah.
That's just me, though.
As I get through the ads.
Yeah, so it's for everybody in the chat, it's confusing the way to label it, make you think one thing, and then of course, I want to see, did they fight again? How'd that work out? I'm thinking, okay, because some people, here we go.
This is the overall.
So that's the overall, the last one I sent you.
The absolute category.
Right. So again, we're looking at like, some people were saying, oh, this ain't the video where Vitaly laid down. I don't see anybody laying down in this video.
Well, this is the overall for the big money.
Right.
Significantly more money here. So there's a lot more fight. And actually, Vitaly, I mean, there's a lot of hits going on in this video where, it looks like Vitaly's kind of playing around a little bit.
Well, I mean, he's controlling it. I've never seen somebody with a posting style low hand top row in a way. And he's just holding. It's not like, he's like holding there.
And they are training partners.
So Jay Clayton said Vitaly laid down in the class match, not the overall.
Well, that's where the big money was.
And you think that might have been a psych job? Because, I'll lay down for you, but it's like going for the big money. I ain't laying down. Is that like a psych? Is that a psych job?
No, it's probably here's the interesting part. Oh, says Vitaly flashed him in a previous encounter in the overall category. So Vitaly may be, superior. Why do we not hear more out of Salayev?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Well, we haven't seen Vitaly, at least I haven't, since he had that match with Dave.
Right.
In Salayev, I'm not sure what he's been doing, but the first, can you cue up the first video I showed you? I guess that'd be the finals, wouldn't it? And people say he laid down for him. I got a feeling that when you lay down for somebody, you're not really fighting. You're just kind of going, okay, slowly take it down. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, you know what? If I'm being honest, Jody, I thought he did kind of, there wasn't much fight from that video that you sent me earlier. Let's bring it up. Let's take a look. Hopefully nobody complains that we're showing videos here.
No, because I think, Hey, everybody in the chat, do you guys mind if we show a video and we're talking about it? You all can see too, because I think it's interesting. But here we go. Oh, you have to get to the very end.
Yeah. Right about here.
Yeah, go ahead and cue it. So it says the finals. I'm thinking that's the finals, and then if you're gonna lay down, you would have laid down, wouldn't you?
Not if you're making it look like you didn't lay down. Like that looks like a lay down to me.
Because I'm looking at if you look
at how
Italian
it's like position, a little bit of hook, and then nothing there. That's a lay down for sure.
Okay, and maybe I just saw it differently. I just thought I saw it to where Vitali's hand position was, it's kind of hard to pronate out of that when you're that deep in the hook.
Like he's not even breathing heavy after this match.
Well, I wouldn't either if it was that quick. It wasn't like it was a war, but at the same time, I'm thinking, oh, okay, just take me down easy kind of stuff. What do you think about stuff like that, by the way?
It's been happening for a long time in tournaments around North America too.
I mean, have you been involved in that before?
Well, sometimes there's side deals where people will split money and, go into overall finals with deals. And, it's kind of like the Tour de France. You got one guy that's meant to win and 5 guys that are meant to run in interference.
Wow, really? Damn.
Yeah. So, I mean, it happens. Sometimes there's some strategy behind it.
We could talk about the UAL 8, right? 3 guys in the heavyweight, in the supers, where it was Brzezinski and Jerry got together to kind of dethrone Michael. Remember that?
Yep.
You were there. You were there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there.
So take us back. Like, what was the? Yes, Jay Kling. Jay read my mind. What exactly? Since you were there in person, what was the vibe like? Because then you got Mike Gould taking fourth, going. It was weird.
I don't really remember that much, but there's lots of times where a couple of the elite guys will agree that they're not really going to pull until the final.
Right.
It happens. It happened at an event. This was actually there was a big event. I think it was a Mike Gould Classic, and it was Travis and John, and they didn't really arm wrestle. And John actually got really upset with me at one point because I called him on it, and I said it was said it was bullshit. But he got really upset with me when I called him out on it.
So who were they gunning for then?
They just didn't want to kill each other while there were still other really good guys in the class.
But that's how arm wrestling is sometimes. I mean, you'll get put in the cat. The only time I feel like I don't want to pull hard is if I'm in a tournament, decent sized class, and I get messed up with my own teammate. That's weird. I mean, in a perfect world, you want to say, hey, if nothing else, you and your teammate who happen to be in the same class, we meet in the finals, but not early on,
I remember this.
Oh, God. Man. That was okay. So that was just like it was funny because when I was in England over last weekend, Neil was talking about this same exact. He actually told me 2 stories. One was that one was the ARMWARS Sin City one. But he told me that anybody from Russia just laid down to Vovoda while everybody from United States and North America were just kicking each other's ass, because that's what we do. We compete. We want to compete, be the best, and you got guys laying down. I'm like, what the fuck, man? But, it was like USA versus USA going at it, Russia versus USA going at it, Russia versus Russia. Alexei, you're going to be our master. We're going to lay down for you so you can cakewalk yourself to the finals, which I think is bullshit. But, that's just my opinion.
Now, Scott McGinnis says you remember some of this stuff, but Scott, do you remember this happening at the Niagara tournament? Now, if you remember the Niagara tournament, that was the tournament where the promoter, or pardon me, the sponsor, bailed on the cash that was supposed to be given away on the day of the event. Yeah, it was awful. I didn't go to that tournament, but Mark Zalepa put it on, and they put him in such a position that he basically had to come up with some money to give out, but the sponsor just bailed, and it was a lot of money, and Engen flew over for it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like there was a lot of stuff going on there. Travis was up there. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that, you know, sponsors do that. The other one, it always seems like, Brian, you always go to a tournament when this shit's involved, because you were also involved in ARMWARS Sin City. Were you not?
I was.
And of course, Devin's the big guy. And the story goes that Don and Travis made a side deal to where, you know, they try to dethrone Devin, who was the ARMWARS champion at the time.
I don't remember that.
Neil was talking about
it. I do remember showing up there thinking I had one match with one guy, giving it absolutely everything I had, and then being just destroyed, and then being expected to pull a couple more guys. And I was like, you got to be kidding me.
So aside from Lupke's and Michael Todd, who else did you pull?
I didn't end up going beyond that. Whereas after Michael and I pulled, Michael said he got his arm was hurt and didn't pull again.
What? Okay, so you had, which I think the original top 8 was, it was called The Gathering. So you had you, Devin, Underwood, Bajent, Lepke's, Bresnan, Yoshi, Michael Todd.
Yep.
Those are your 8 pullers. And
immediately Michael pulls out after our match, and then in match number 1, Don Underwood tears Yoshi's bicep.
Yeah. So now you're down to 6 people. So it's like, okay. So the story goes, and Neil was telling us, this ain't new, so it's not like I'm gonna, get yelled at. But the story goes that I guess Travis and Don made some kind of deal or whatever. Because if you look at it, Devin's the head honcho. Let's call it, knock him off his post, whatever. And they had made a deal. So Don's fresh as a daisy, goes through Travis 6-0, right? Went through Yoshi 1-0 because Yoshi tore his bicep. So now Don's sitting pretty fresh. Devin had to go through Lupke's, which wasn't really that much of a trouble. Went through Bresnan. So now we're in the finals, right? And this is where, if you look at if you go back to ARMWARS archives, that whole scenario is there. Sin City, everybody had the yellow or black shirts on. Top of the MGM Grand, by the way. So
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. But he even told me before all that went down how it almost didn't happen. But that's another story you and I could chat. I don't know. You probably know about it.
I don't remember much about it. I know that the World Championships were 3 days before.
Yeah, because that was, I think, when Cobra busted his ribs at the Worlds, came to ARMWARS, and he was all wrapped up and everything and all that stuff. But anyway,
I pulled at the World Championships and showed up to ARMWARS Sin City, and I showed up there clean as a whistle.
It's the luck of the draw, right? So, you get there, you're in the finals. It's Don Underwood, Devin Larratt, winner take all kind of thing.
And here's the other.
What's that?
Now, who ended up winning that match?
Devin won.
And how many times did Don Underwood actually get pins on Devin?
A lot.
There was a lot of restarts. And man, I remember watching that. I remember thinking Underwood won that match.
How many restarts do you need, But then I also saw a lot of elbow fouls from Don too. But yeah,
well, they didn't show that whole match. The video does not capture how long that match actually was.
Well, all I know is that did it go to a silver bullet? No, I think because then once you won, and the rules still apply. Once you win 4, officially you won, but there's still more to pull. But the way it ended, it was like, oh, okay, it came down to this. So, but Chris, so here's Chris, right? He says, I thought it was 3-3 in the end. So here's the thing: what they do now in Arm Wars, what they don't do then. Then they had a silver bullet, but for some reason that was not filmed. Because if you remember that same event, Travis and Devin pulled left-handed.
Yep, that's true.
And there was a silver bullet, but that didn't get filmed. Nowadays in Arm Wars, silver bullet, you show it, right? So Jay Clean going with conspiracy theories here. I'm just saying, it's just, if y'all got time today, go back. It's under Arm Wars Archives, right? Sin City. You'll see it, and you'll see what we're talking about, the gathering. There were other matches there that was great, but we're talking about the top 8, my version of the top 8, and it was like, okay, here we go. And like I said, it would have been interesting to see how that would have ended had Michael Todd not pull out of the first round, had Yoshi continue to not tear his bicep. It would have been interesting to see how that went, because you got to remember that was a battleground. So basically what you guys see now, Ryan, with the 4-man battleground, that was basically an 8-man battleground. So you had to pull it. If you went 2 and out, that meant you pulled 12 matches.
Yep.
So think about that for a second. So battleground, right? 8-man battleground. If you went 2 and out, then you pulled 12 matches, because you pulled 6 rounds no matter what. So you had a big day in the fucking heat on top of the MGM Grand. Yeah.
Jay Clean.
Oh, hey, go ahead and highlight that. Now then, referring to my conspiracy that Devin gets favorable treatment on Arm Wars, do you think that's a realistic thing?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I am thinking that Devin has a presence that leads to him getting favorable treatment everywhere, not just Arm Wars. Now, when I pulled Devin at the Arnold Classic, there was a lot of stuff going on in the match. There was a lot of movement, elbow fouls, moving in a referee's grip, and a referee standing there saying, Devin, you're moving in a referee's grip. If you keep moving, I will give you a foul.
What do you mean if you keep moving?
And I said, why are you not giving him a foul right now? And Leonard, who is the head ref, walked up behind that ref and said, if he is moving, you have to give him a foul.
These are the facts, right? Because
these are the facts. So he got a foul for moving in a referee's grip. And then the referee said go, and I pulled Devin way over to my side of the table, and he elbow fouled when he was about to get pinned. So he lost that match on fouls. Then goes and makes a video about how fouls are the lowest form of winning.
But if somebody fouls when he's, if somebody else fouls on him, then he's quick to point that out. Here's my thing, and which brings me to my next point. And I want everybody in the chat to understand, and Ryan, you too. Here's my rant. Here we go. 9:42 Pacific Standard Time. Here's my rant. So we understand that at these pay-per-views, we want to see a match. God forbid, the one thing we don't want to see was when, was it 2016? And it was Michael Todd versus Gasparini, when Gasparini was about 220, by the way. And Michael went to Italy. It's on there. Michael went to Italy, pulled Hermes when Hermes was looking like a normal person, and Michael won 3-2, right? The 2 wins that Hermes got were actual pins. The 3 wins that Michael got were all elbow fouls off of Hermes, okay? So I get that you want to see pins. You don't want to see anybody lose. Maybe that's not a good example. I'll give you a better one. Top 8, Tim Bresnan, Rustam Babayev. God damn it, 5 matches, 3-2. Now, one goddamn person got pinned. Okay? Now, here's the thing. If everybody would listen to the ref is in charge, right? If the ref says, do not move, damn it, don't fucking move. It's not that hard. We all know as arm wrestlers and competitors, Ryan knows it, I know it, everybody in the chat knows it. My issue with all this is the fact that we all know if I can get a little bit more than, and the ref don't say anything, I'm going to take it. We all know that, okay? We've been around the sport and know that. Some people say, grab your opponent, stay in the hook, let the ref straighten you out. Okay, I understand that. But at the same time, I think, and this goes back to what you're saying, Ryan, sometimes some people have influences on referees to where they're scared to make a call against them because they might hear a backlash. Now, this is not me picking on Devin, but if we're talking about him for a second, it goes back to when that match against Prutnik. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, referees take control. Jody Larrett, love you to death. You cannot be inserting yourself into this match. Okay? You want to be the corner guy? I got you. You want to cheer for Devin? I got you. But inserting yourself into the point where the refs are not even doing their job anymore, that's not okay. Right? And like I said, this ain't me picking on people. It's on video. I'm not saying anything that's different. It's on the fucking video. I think when elite pullers make it to a certain status, you don't want to piss anybody off, right? But there's a reason why we have referees. If it's a ref script, don't fucking move. We all grew up to know that's what you do, right?
Yeah. And it's almost like there should be an attached monetary penalty, like a portion of their winnings or a portion of their pay gets docked. It's just like, remember the old Pride Fighting Championships? If you had a yellow card for delaying the fight, you actually got a fine for it. They took a portion of your purse away.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way to get back control of this thing. Otherwise, just call the fouls.
Or how about this now? And you'll know about this, Ryan, and everybody, because I know I've gone through people like this where people not wanting to get a grip, purposely stalling just so they can get to the strap. Right?
Yeah. My favorite is when they just go to the table and they just stand there with their hand open. Like, you got to at least try. You're going to get foul or warnings for delaying the match.
I see two things with that. I see, that I'm on the fence with. And I say that because if you know you're going to slip and get to the strap, let's avoid torquing each other's wrists just to get to the strap. That I do agree with. However, now the strap game is actual technique now, because two reasons why. Either A, some people are a lot better in the straps than they are out of the straps, or B, it's because that person knows that I have a weak link in my wrist, and if I put the strap on, then it takes away that, and I can hide that fact that my wrist is not the best, and I can still continue to pull and be dominant.
I was arm wrestling a good left-handed arm wrestler last weekend in that tournament. And I just said, I just said to him right when we got to the table, you want to just go to the straps? And he's like, no, I hate the straps. And then proceeded to make no effort to hold on whatsoever.
Whoa, hold on. Hold on, Ryan, hold on. So let me get this straight. Your opponent says he hates the straps, right?
Yeah.
But decided not to even get a grip. Does he understand that it's going to the straps anyway?
I knew it was going there. He must have known it was going there.
Well, I mean, I don't know, because there's times I've hey, let's go to strap, and I got screwed out of it because that person had a better strap game than I did. So I kind of played into his,
Well, we're both top rollers. It was going one way.
Right. That's just math.
Yeah.
If you're both top rollers, unless someone has a more dominant top roller than you or pronation, it's going to the straps regardless.
Yeah. And he made no effort to hold on. And we ended up in the strap. So is it a matter of him wanting to get that one little hit, thinking it would make a difference in the outcome? Hard to say. But if you're going to be a top roller and you hate the strap that much, well, you better stop hating the strap. You better start practicing it.
Oh, you want to highlight that for a second, Mr. Stacks?
The big one?
Yeah. Let's see what Devin does against Gennady at the strap. Devin will try, and I feel Gennady will fight him at the start. Plus, he has no language barrier with who was that?
Christo.
One of the refs. So
if how Devin's not gonna take kindly to Gennady speaking another language to the referee and having a conversation.
Well, I mean, did Devin try to psycho Levon? Levon probably couldn't understand fucking English, so it didn't bother him.
No, and Gennady does not speak much English.
So it's like, okay. But, let's get back to one of the earlier comments about the dark card that is coming up. Neil already announced it's going to be in May.
The big left-handed focus.
He never announced his opponent. He already said Devin's going to be involved. All we know, I may know more than most. All we know is that Devin's going to be involved, left-hand match, and it's going to take place next month, right? Question is,
Kurdecha.
Oh, who knows? It could be, because, I mean, let's do the math for a second. We know my thought would have been Morozov, but we're talking Morozov pulling Levon, isn't he?
Morozov left-handed. Devin's going after the top guy.
That would be my initial thought, but I was like, well, wait a minute. Morozov is pulling Levon. That probably won't happen. Now, interesting you say Kurdecha, because we haven't seen him in a while.
We haven't, and there's been these videos that have been floating around about this secret match they had in practice or something. It's almost like they're trying to build up something.
Because, I say that because I think the last time we saw Alex was when he pulled. Did he pull Dave Chafee last, or did he pull Corey West last? I can't remember. But I have yet to even see Alex on a. Did he ever pull East First West? I know he was there in attendance a couple times, but he never competed.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because we haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah. Kurdecha J.
That would be interesting. Okay, Corey was after Dave. Okay, so yeah, that was the last time, I seen Alex was on East vs. West. I thought he was going to take time off anyway. That's why we haven't seen him.
Yeah. Time off from what?
I don't know. I just, he had his thing going with Omega. Is that a sponsor or whatever? He has some things going on good things going on with that. And then all of a sudden I'm not pulling for a little bit. And then now he's, he might be resurfacing, which is, cool. But all these guys that take time off, we haven't seen for a while, like, Saleyev, haven't seen him for a while. Who's the guy coming back from Sweden? We haven't seen him for a while. Is it Tobias?
Sprung, yeah.
Yeah. Haven't seen him, but was he getting over an injury too, though?
No, he's scheduled for the next one.
No, but why we haven't seen him in a while, though?
Oh, yeah, he did injure himself because remember he was in a match and had to pull out of that match.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hernia surgery. Okay, got it. And then, even Morozov, I think Morozov just took time because every event that Ingen had, he was pulling both hands. So it's like, let me take a break so I can kind of, you know, take some time off. So I mean, that's that. Didn't know that his first match back would be against Levon, but no, be that as it may. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting stuff. I mean, we all can sit there and guess who's Devin going to pull. And even Neil said, if you get it right, he ain't saying nothing. So that's the kicker.
We'll find out when we find out.
Yeah, he said it on the fix yesterday. So
yeah. And we should get wrapping up pretty soon here, Jody. But we got the East versus West qualifier, the Eastern Canada qualifier in Toronto coming up this weekend.
Is that the one where Matt Mask is going there, right?
The one where Matt Mask is pulling, and the rumor is he's sticking to 242.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
Probably a good move on his part.
I think sometimes you got to take a step back and go, okay, I need to get some momentum back going for him behind me again. So, you know, going there might be a good idea. You know, I mean, he's been there before. So this is not nothing new. It's just he hasn't had good success. But, you know, I think him dropping down a weight class and going, okay, let me just redo everything. What I've been doing lately hasn't been working. What can I do to make it work? Take it down a weight class. You know, I'm not sure who's all going to be there as far as, you know, having good competition. That I do not know.
Yeah.
You would probably more know than me.
Answer your question, Scott. Yes. Everything from the Manitoba-Ontario border one way is east or west.
Brian Gabriel says 242 becomes because he's going to compete at 253. So does like Devin vacate that then? Because now that he's going after these monsters, what does that mean for his title?
I don't think they'll let him vacate it. I think he'll hold on to it.
I'm only asking that because we know some of these matches, you know, are 3 or 4 months in the making, and you know, do you really want to go up and down in weight, or does because Devin's not going to stay at 253 to pull Gennady? We all know that, you know.
Yeah. No. I don't know. We'll see. The finals will be interesting. I highly doubt that I will travel to Virginia.
That was just my next question. This is like Canadian Nationals coming up soon in July?
July, yeah. Okay. My right arm is not 100%. Okay. I injured it before that last tournament, and I made it worse at the tournament. Having a practice here tomorrow, and it's going to be a huge practice.
Okay.
But we will see what happens. I am 99% sure I'm not going to Virginia. I'm going to go to the Canadian Nationals and probably just stick to the Masters class and maybe head off to IFA Worlds.
There you go. Oh, key word is IFA, by the way. So, yes. Well, now that I'm back, you know, in the States, home sweet home. Now I'm getting ready for the. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. So, Rush Raiders in the chat. What's up, Rush? Good morning. He's my opponent for Monster Factory 4. Now, Ryan, were you paying attention? Because now I got a second match.
I didn't see the second match.
Yes. So, as you know, the Monster Factory event is 2 days, right? So you got Friday night's the preliminaries, right? And Saturday is the undercard and the main event card. So I'm already slated. Russ and I were slated. Yes. What's that?
Yeah. You're talking about Monster Factory. Yeah, I'm aware of your second match.
Yeah. So I don't know if people are aware of it. So it's Saturday night. You know, I'm watching TV with the missus, and all of a sudden, I think I had my phone on like vibrate or something like that. So I missed the call. I happened to look, and Monster called me. Hey, he texted me. Hey, call me when you get this. I'm like, oh shit. All right. Called him up. Hey, what's going on? In true Michael fashion. Hey, buddy, sorry, we got to cancel the Monster Factory. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you shitting me? And then my jaw like dropped. I'm like, my ticket's already taken. What the fuck, you know? Oh, I'm just playing. But he said there was a match between Roger Learn out of Pennsylvania against Daniel Worley out of Florida, and Roger cannot make it. He can't do it, you know? So he's like, hey, I just thought I'd give you a call, and says, hey, do you want the match right-handed? And it'll be Friday night. I'm like, sure, why not, you know? So I took on that match last minute. So right hand Friday night, April 28th, left hand Saturday against Rush Raider, April 29th. So there you go.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, pal. We got to wrap her up.
Everybody, hope you guys push the like button. Hope you guys subscribe. Like and subscribe. Share it.
Yep. And as usual, Jody's channel is linked in the description. Head over there and hit subscribe there as well.
Yes, Russ, I'm training. Yes, I'm training. Now that I get all this ARMWARS out of my system, that kind of pain is gone. So, yes, I am training. So
we'll have some stuff to talk about next week, particularly Matt Mask's performance at that tournament.
Do we know who's filming?
Nope, but I'm sure it will be streamed somewhere.
Okay. All right, everybody.
All right.
Enjoy your Monday. We will see you next week. Ryan, my friend, talk to you soon.
See you next time, everybody.
Take care.